Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another episode of SoccerSanchez TV. Welcome to another edition of this beautiful blog here on YouTube. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Stewart Sanchez. We're going to drop the Stu Gets Goals now because this guy's never on Twitter. He's very how are you, Stuart?
Yeah, good. Yeah, eager to talk about the games, the midweek games, and get stuck into things.
Excellent, lovely haircut as always. And today we've got a special guest. As you can see there, Chelsea fan, unfortunately. We've got D-Lords.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to be here.
Very well. We're doing very well, and we're very lucky to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome, man.
TV.
My pleasure.
As you guys can see on the screen, well, you guys can't see, but as the viewers can see on the screen, we've got a Champions League logo up. So what does that mean? This week has been the Champions League quarterfinals. It's a strange one because obviously we're coming out of lockdown. There is an issue with the COVID pandemic, and as a result of that, the Champions League format has changed. All quarterfinal games have been played in Portugal, and the games are only one leg. There's no two-legged affair, which has made very interesting scorelines and results as a result of that. I'm going to go through it quickly. So on Thursday night, we had the Atalanta PSG game. Atalanta taking the lead through Pasalic on 26 minutes, only to be stifled with 2 goals in the 90th minute by Marquinhos first, and then Stoke City legend Chopo with his 93rd minute winner. Unbelievable. Unlucky for Atalanta, and well done to PSG because they've been struggling in Champions League in recent years. Quickly on to the next day, we had Leipzig against Atletico Madrid. Dani Olmo and Tyler Adams were the heroes for Leipzig, who are debutants, as well as Atalanta actually, in the Champions League, and managed to get over their Spanish rivals, Atletico Madrid, who were only able to contest with a 1 goal through João Felix. So Leipzig went through there. And then the big hitters, of course, Friday night we saw the obliteration of Barcelona, losing 8-2 to a magnificent Bayern Munich side. And then last night, another shock, in my opinion anyway, in the cards. It was Man City 1, Lyon 2. So some fantastic games we've had in the last 4 days. Personally speaking, I'm enjoying this one-game knockout tournament. Makes it interesting viewing, that's for sure. So firstly, the Atalanta PSG game, as we mentioned before, Atalanta making their debut in the tournament, did very well. A team that scored over 100 goals. They've had the likes of Zapata and Muriel doing fantastic work for them, not only in Serie A, but also in the Champions League. And PSG, as always, a fantastic team, fueled by Qatari money. Neymar, obviously the star man, had a fantastic game. I believe I read that he has the most dribbles in any Champions League game after that match against Atalanta. And despite creating a lot of chances and opportunities, Neymar was very disappointing in front of goal. A couple of one-on-one situations, hitting them wide or off target. And as I mentioned before, 2 goals in the 90th minute, one from Marquinhos and the other one from Choupo-Moting, to help the French side get past their quarterfinal hoodoo and finally make it to a semi-final with this new ownership. First of all, Stuart, I know you're a big fan of Atalanta, obviously with the Colombia connection there, Muriel and David Zapata doing their thing out there. How do you feel the tournament went for Atalanta as a whole, and do you think they could have got more out of that game had it not been, obviously, for the last 2 goals at the end? Do you think they should have made more of it, given the opportunity they had in that quarter-final, and it being a one-legged affair?
Yeah, well, I think they gave it all they had. I mean, you can see from Zapata's work rate. I mean, I'm going to focus on Zapata because he's really the person that I was looking out for in that team. But he pretty much gave it all he had in his tank. He closed everything down. He was running the channels, but I think eventually he started to lose out on some of the steam there. But I think they gave it all they had. I mean, I don't think there's much else they could have done. I think that the kind of they had a bad luck in the game towards the end when PSG hit them with those 2 solid goals. I think introducing Mbappe during the game was key for PSG to winning that game, because you see when he came on the left-hand side, he was gliding past players like they weren't there. He was really important for them for their comeback, and as you said, Neymar as well was really good. So it's hard when you're a team like Atlanta that hasn't got any kind of individual stars. They're good players, but they're not breakout stars like PSG. And when you're playing against a team that just has that moment of magic where they can just turn it on and produce something out of nothing. So yeah, Atlanta 10 out of 10 for effort, but just unlucky on the night. And at the end, right at the end, when Muriel had that chance, when he was 1-on-1 against the keeper, you just thought that this is going to be it. This is where they're going to equalise and the tide's going to reverse. But he fluffed his line. So yeah, I mean, another night, Muriel might have scored that because he's been one of the best. He's been one of the most strikers in Europe off the bench. He's got like 18, 19 goals a season, just most of them off the bench. So I thought that my money was in him scoring when he came on, and especially with that chance. But just on that night, it wasn't to be.
Yeah, D-Lord, what do you think of the Atlanta PSG performance? Do you think PSG deserved to win that game?
Deserved to win that game. I'm not sure, but had to win that game, yes. Because there's been a lot of pressure on PSG in regards to how much has been pumped into the team, how much has been put into them to make them, this global. They're trying to be like a global name, and they need the Champions League. They've been dominating the French league for quite a while. So the holy grail right now is the Champions League for them, and they have fallen quite short over the years. So there was a lot of pressure riding into this game, and what made it even harder was the fact that we have a new team that just come out of nowhere, Atalanta, who have been superb and amazing this whole season. I'm not too sure, but I believe they're probably one of the highest goal scoring teams in Europe, or if not the highest. I'm not too sure regarding stats, but they've done pretty well. So they have, like you said, they don't really have a lot of standout stars, but what they do have is a very cohesive unit who they gel very well. And they have a few players that Mario Pasalic, who was funny enough at Chelsea, one of our hundreds of loanees. He's actually a player that was very highly rated by Chelsea. The problem with him, he was with us for like 6 years. The problem was we couldn't really secure a work permit for him, which is why that was the reason why he wasn't able to even get an opportunity with us, because he was one that we actually had high hopes for. And for some reason, we couldn't secure a work permit for him, which is why the loan, he just had to keep going alone. And eventually, just like, regarding all the changes of managers and stuff, it's just, we had to kind of like cash in at some point. But happy he's finally settled in. He's doing well. Again, you mentioned Muriel. Muriel's another great player. Duvan Zapata, another brilliant striker that I've been keeping my eye on. They have that is a left wing back, Golson. I'm not too sure. He's another one that kind of catches the eye. But like all in all, a very, very good, very, very good unit. I do think that they did, kind of miss a very important cog in that team, which was Ilicic. Yeah, I feel that was a very big miss for them. I'm not saying they would have won the game, but they would have given it a right go. And it's unfortunate. If the rumors are true, I'm sure you guys have heard what happened. I don't know if we want to divert and go into it, but the rumors which kind of have affected him not being able to play this game, where he's done so well for them over the season, and to kind of like get to this stage and miss out on this opportunity, which you never know. Football's a very funny world. Yeah, he could have been that missing piece. We could have, he could have taken them over the edge. But PSG really, they had a lot of pressure on their back, and you just got to commend them that, that they really dug deep and came through. And especially someone like Neymar, who had, it was an interesting night for him, because it's like he had one of the best games of his career, but, at the same time kind of had like one of the worst games of his career. So it's kind of like a weird mix in terms of, okay, he didn't really get on the score sheet. But his performance was, he was getting kicked left, right, and center, but still, he wasn't letting that phase him. And the pass when Mbappe came on, that connection, that pass that he gave Mbappe was absolutely brilliant. Like, I don't think people talk about that pass as they should, because that was just something out of his locker, leading up to the winner. Yeah,
that's true actually. That part, and then the control to Mbappe to bring it down and get it across was.
It was ridiculous. But yeah, I think PSG. Yeah, I think they did well. I think there was a lot of pressure on them because nobody really kind of gave Atlanta. They were like the underdogs. And sometimes it's very dangerous when you come across an underdog like that, and there's a whole lot of pressure on you to get to that next step, and to then go 1-0 down and then score like 2 amazing goals within the last few minutes of the game. It's what the Champions League is made of.
Yeah, no, I have to say, and I agree with you. I think personally, I haven't watched every single game Neymar's played for PSG, but from what the many games that I have seen him play in, I thought that was up there with one of the best performances of his career. Ironically, he didn't score, and he did have three very good opportunities to score, but that's football, and as you say there, he contributed to the winning goal, so good for him. And funny enough, it's the first time that PSG haven't played a quarterfinal game while Neymar's sister's birthday is happening. So look what happens when Neymar actually does turn up to the games. They are actually won. So yeah, well done PSG. Lucky for him, this game was in August. Anyway, moving on. After that, we had the game between RB Leipzig and Atletico Madrid. I'm just going to quickly touch on this. RB Leipzig, I like as a team. I've liked them ever since they were formed. I know there's a lot of hate against them because of the whole Red Bull money. And a lot of people were mentioning the fact, money wins, Man City are, doing so well because of their money and they got away with the FFP. Leipzig are the same. But a little stat for you. Leipzig's first 11 in total actually cost £67 million. Thomas Lemar, who was on the bench for Atletico Madrid, was £63 million. So it kind of shows you that, Leipzig had a bit of money. A lot of money for a 5th division team, what they were 10 years ago, 11 years ago. But you have to say they've done fantastically well. The recruitment and the scouting for Leipzig has been fantastic. Dani Olmo, for example, is a brilliant player. I think he's fantastic. And the fact they got him from them in the summer has made a real difference to their team. Also, Tyler Adams, young American defensive midfielder, played very well in that game and also got the winner with a deflected shot. Atletico Madrid disappointing. Simeone again, just not good enough to get his team up to the final. I know they've had opportunities in the last few years and obviously lost in the final. But unfortunately for them, it wasn't to be. Stewart, how excited are you by Leipzig? And do you think they can pull a shock this year in the Champions League?
Yeah, well, it seems that there have been a few shocks so far. It seems like the tournament for the underdog this year. In terms of if they can do it, who knows? Right now, the results have shown that anything can happen at the moment. Maybe because of COVID, it's a whole new kind of environment right now. In terms of their players, they really work hard for each other. So perhaps that kind of teamwork and cohesiveness can really pull them through.
Yeah.
But it's a shame that Atletico Madrid didn't go through, because I thought, I liked how Joao Felix played on Thursday evening. I thought he was one of the standout players for Atletico Madrid.
And he came off the bench.
And he really showed what Atletico Madrid were missing. So I was surprised he wasn't starting. But I think Leipzig, who knows? Maybe they can make it.
Just before I go to you, D-Lord, just touch on what you just said, Stuart. I think the underdog tagline is particularly significant this year, and I think it's just because of the whole one-game knockout. I'll be honest, had these been first leg games, I can see Atletico Madrid turning that round at home. Second leg. Likewise, Atalanta, PSG probably wouldn't even push for a winner if the Atalanta were already 1-0 up. So, again, I completely agree with the underdog thing. It has a lot to do, in my opinion anyway, a lot to do with the one-game knockout. D-Lord, do you think that's a fair point? Do you think, though, obviously, we know the Champions League is a money thing as well. They make a lot of money out of having as many games as possible, and they probably will never have a one-game knockout in the latter stages of the Champions League. But are you enjoying the fact that the underdog has got a good chance of going through because of that format?
I would say, as a neutral, I would say yes, because I believe that this format I think is brilliant, actually. I think you have to kind of give credit to, funny enough, to UEFA for actually, being under pressure and, thinking of how they can carry on these games, finish off this Champions League and coming up with this format, in a neutral place. You have to kind of give it to them that, it's actually been very exciting, and the underdogs have definitely stepped up in regards to games played against, big names. Touching on Leipzig, Atletico Madrid, I think it was a breath of fresh air to kind of finally see a team like Leipzig at the later stages. I'm not sure if this is their first time in the Champions League. The first time in Champions League, right? I hadn't really followed, their progress to the stages, if I'm being honest. But what I can say is we know what Atletico Madrid are about. We know that they are a super defensive team, and they do have some reflection. They do have some, they need time to reflect on where they're going, because there was a lot of money invested into that team, and I'm not too sure why they would invest those that kind of money in the team and then still kind of play the same way, which is that sit back defensive bulldog type game style. And then on the other hand, you see Leipzig, and the football they were playing it's probably the best football I've seen since the restart. Out of all the teams, everybody was on point. And bearing in mind, they don't even have Timo Werner in the team, so they've had to change their style a bit, which kind of gives credit to another person I want to talk about, who's Julian Nagelsmann. He's a coach who I've kind of followed since his Hoffenheim days. Really impressed with him. I think he's the next big thing. And when I heard he was to be honest, I only found out he was the manager of Leipzig not too long ago, and it kind of made sense. I was like, okay, I understand now why.
Perfect fit, by the way. I think that manager with that young team, excellent.
Ridiculous. The play, and I actually watched how they play and how they outplayed Atletico Madrid. And bearing in mind, this is an Atletico Madrid with a lot of experience. I mean, you have like Diego Costa, you have, Koke, they have Jimenez, Savic, a lot of players who have a lot of Champions League experience, and then coming against this new team who just showed no fear. They didn't care this is, Atletico Madrid, this is a team that they popped past the ball. They would never, even when they were put under pressure, they played out the back. It's like watching a German Barca team. That's how literally it looked to me. I was impressed with a lot of players, and see them go 1-0 up, and then with the introduction of João Felix, which again, I don't understand what Diego Simeone is doing when you got someone like that who, how much did he cost? 100 and something?
15 million, wasn't it?
100, yeah, and he was on the bench, didn't make no sense to me. And then he comes on, and then you see the difference that he makes, and then pulls the equalizer. But then for them to then go ahead and they weren't phased at all. They didn't go into a shell thing. Oh gosh, we know once Atletico Madrid get a goal, that's it. We're not scoring again, whatever. But I'm not sure. I think maybe due to the way that the tournament has been shaped, where it's just like a one-game knockout, they just thought to themselves, let's just go all out, go for it. And credit to them, they did, and they got the lucky break with Tyler Adams hitting you don't shoot, you don't score. Hitting the shot, getting the deflected goal. And I don't know about you guys, Stewart, what do you think in terms of where do you think that Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid go from here? Because they've been together for how long? I'm not too sure. I'm just going via All Black years. All Black has been there for 7 years. And
8-9 years, I reckon.
8-9 years. Okay, and you know that they've kind of played the same way throughout. You know, sometimes they get lucky, sometimes it's just they're just struggling to get over that line, and it doesn't seem that they're going to change anything. But they've invested 150 million in someone like a Yao Felix, and
I mean, perhaps he doesn't fit. I mean, I think you made a good point earlier on in terms of the kind of combative like playing style they have.
Yeah,
that's very well suited to kind of the Simeone DNA, because he was a very combative midfielder who much was very very gutsy, full of high energy in his performances. A bit like a Latin American Gennaro Gattuso, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, maybe this Joao Felix doesn't fit into that mold of being tenacious and combative playing style that Atletico Madrid used to have.
Yeah.
I think it might well take a different manager to change course and change playing style.
Yeah.
But that would be a bold move from Atletico Madrid directors to really pull the trigger on that one, because he's taken Atletico Madrid from a very mediocre team when I think who was it? I think it was Hector Cooper. Javier Aguirre, he was manager back in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And after that, I think it was Falcao and Simeone kind of were around the same time that they came into the team.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on in, he took Madrid to top two Champions League spots, and he really took them to the next level. And you got to the final against Real Madrid a couple of times. So it'd be a very bold move from the board to really pull the trigger and remove Simeone. I think you sometimes have to be careful what you wish for, because it might mean them going back a few steps before they move forward. There's no guarantee they'll actually progress to the next level. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. And also you've got players like Thomas Lemar that right now are just, they scored nothing. They had no assists, and for a player like that who had such a high rep at Monaco, from going from there to Madrid and not doing anything, it's kind of, it shows a bit of maybe the lack of sinking in with the new signings and their playing style.
I think it definitely boils down to the playing style, because you've got these attackers who are young and exciting attackers. Like you said, you touched on Thomas Lemar, who's a player that I put in high regards. I really do like him. He's very technical, very skillful, and got excellent technique on the ball. And then you see his stats for Atletico Madrid, and then you also get like a Yao Felix. He hasn't really hit the heights that he did, when he was at Benfica. You then have to look at, it's the playing style and it's the manager, and that's Diego Simeone's style. That's the DNA he's put into the team. They bought. You look at the attacking player they bought back Diego Costa, they bought back Morata, they bought Yao Felix. They got they have very good attackers, but then it's like they're just not getting the best out of them. It's like they're turning them into this defensive type, strikers. So I know you say that you think it'll be very harsh to kind of pull the trigger, but then at what point do you say, I've invested a lot of money into exciting talent and I'm not really getting excitement out of that? At what point does the board say, you know what, we need to start challenging the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, especially Barcelona in this period that they are. We'll touch on them later, I'm sure. But at what point, because me personally, I don't see any changes. If they stick with Simeone, I don't see any changes going forward.
It's a good point, because, I mean, Simeone's been there, as we said, like 8-9 years maybe even.
Yeah.
And now we've got to a point now where they're in the quarterfinals, they went out to Leipzig, they spent that much money on Yao Felix. In all honesty, I think Marouane Fellaini is a better signing for Atletico Madrid than Yao Felix. I think he suits that type of play perfectly. But you're right, and they lost Griezmann. They've still got, Saúl Niguez is there, and so is
Saúl Niguez,
Diego Costa and Koke, and they've got the spine of the team
that's
still there. And Oblak particularly, I think we spoke about this off camera, like when we're discussing the wages in European football. Oblak is the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. He's on 350,000 euros a week. And
really?
Yeah, and now you get into a point where can Atletico Madrid continue to first spend that much money on transfer fees, and secondly offer wages to players when they're not really finding success. The league is always going to be hard because Barcelona, Real Madrid are always dominating. The next best bet, Champions League, whereas they had success a couple of years ago. Now it's not looking as successful as before. So, I mean, you mentioned there the board might be looking for excitement, but at the same time, they might enjoy the defensive side of things as long as they're winning. But now they're not winning. Where do they go now?
Exactly. That's a very good point, because it's like they're at a crossroads right now, because the fact that you just have to look at the money that they spent in the last recently. Me personally, that's the kind of thing I would see like a Real Madrid or maybe a Barcelona doing. But to then see like an Atletico Madrid do that, but then your playing style hasn't changed. You bought exciting players, but your playing style hasn't changed. It's still kind of like the same. I mean, they've lost like Diego Godin. They've lost like one or two, key players, but those are like the defensive style of players. So when you see them buying these attackers, you think to yourself, okay, maybe he's trying to push on to the next level. And then you see that they still stick to that same, doggy style of just, gritty, sit back, 10 men behind, 11 men behind the ball and just waiting for the counterattack. And it's not really getting the best out of, your asset, that you've just bought. I'm not even too sure if he's not the most expensive player in Spanish football. But for Atletico Madrid, that's a very, very, would you spend that type of money to then kind of play defensive football and not get the best out of that kind of player? Like, what do you think about that?
To spend over 100 million on a player, you have to start him every game, and especially one so young. You're by putting that price tag on him, you're putting him as one of the top players in the world. Now, I doubted, which I shouldn't have, Mbappe. The amount of money PSG spent on Mbappe, I thought, this is crazy. This guy's only 18. There's a lot of pressure on him, but he's proved everyone wrong. He is truly a world-class player. He's only going to get even better. His attitude seems fantastic. The type of modern-day footballer that not only kids can look up to, but also adults can watch and think, wow, this guy's really, really good. But then you got, on the other hand, João Felix, who's, I think he costs a similar amount. It's close anyway. I think Mbappe was 125. But we've got someone like João Felix who isn't getting regular games. I thought it was a big decision to let him take the penalty the other night, which speaks volumes really of how much confidence they have in him. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if you're going to spend that much money on that type of player in your team, your play style has to change, because you mentioned there the defensive. I mean, it's very obvious Simeone's team are very defensive, but I have a feeling, again, had this been two legs, that tactic works perfectly. With this one game knockout thing, that totally backfired in them, and they had no way to come back, especially after Adam scored like towards the last 10 minutes of the game. So I completely agree with you. I think the money they spent on João Felix, you need to kind of put him as the main guy, especially that they've lost Griezmann as well. But it is a lot of pressure on young shoulders. So we come to see what happens with Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid in next year and the coming years, because it is very interesting, given what a fantastic team Madrid have been in the last 5 years. It is sad to see how it's kind of gone on since their last Champions League final anyway.
I know we're pressed for time, but in terms of like if Simeone was to leave, which manager do you think would be best placed to take over that team and take it to the next level?
Pochettino.
I was going to say the same thing. Pochettino has to be.
Definitely. I mean that'd be fantastic. One who'll get the backing. If they can spend 100 million on João Felix, I'm sure he'll get a little 50, 40, 60 million for another couple of players. But I think Pochettino will be a fantastic, and by the pure fact that he doesn't like Barcelona. So winning with a Madrid team, although not Real, would put one up on his rivals, let's say. New stadium, money. So I think it's a perfect.
Yeah, you see that like again, that's a lot of investment. They got a new stadium. I forgot. Good thing you brought that up. I mean, you got a new stadium. You got, you're buying all these attackers, and then it's just like an anticlimax. But I think we've kind of like touched on, Atletico Madrid. We know they have a lot of problems, but like who do you think who impressed you for Leipzig? I think we need to really give them a shout out. Like who impressed both of you for Leipzig?
I mean, in terms of the season, Forsberg for me, I've always liked Forsberg. He's been a brilliant player. I'm pretty sure he'll play with them in the second division as well. Poulsen as well came up from the second division, so the spine of the team has been there for a while. Danny Olmo this season has been brilliant. I've liked Danny Olmo for a couple of years now. I think he's a really good creative player. And the centre back, I can't pronounce his name.
Upamecano.
That's the guy, him, Meccano. He's a very good centre back, and I thought
Brilliant.
the other night he was very, very good. I mean, he's very good anyway, but he was very, very good against Atletico Madrid, and one of the main reasons why Atletico just couldn't get anywhere near.
He had Diego Costa in his pocket, which is very rare. I mean, Diego Costa he's not the same player he used to be, but still he's still someone that he's a handful, and for Upamecano to kind of not be phased by that. You have to remember this is their first time in Champions League, so they're coming up against a lot of big names, so and to be not phased by a player of that stature and or the other players, in fact, and to have a very, very composed game, focus on the game. He didn't let anything, get under his skin. He just played brilliantly. I have to commend him on that. Sabitzer is another one that really impressed me. Like I've seen him for a while. I really like him. I think he's great in that midfield. He's got a good engine on him, and he keeps the ball moving really well. He impressed me a lot. But like you said, Danny Olmo, was he playing in Russia? I think
he was. Yeah, he was only there for a year. But Dynamo Kiev, that's Ukraine, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Ukraine. Sorry, yeah. We were linked to it. He's another player we were linked to it.
Bro, you're linked with everyone.
Oh man, yeah, we were touching us on a later on a later date, man. But shout out to Leipzig.
Yeah, exactly. A fantastic team, and the experience thing is interesting. I mean, because I was thinking when Leipzig were winning, I was taken back to the good old days when Spurs won a quarter-final of the Champions League last year. but it was very different because Man City, however good they are, etc., they're not a very experienced Champions League team. So that game was always 50-50. Atletico Madrid are experienced. They've got to a final, and they've done very well in the tournament. So for them to do what they did, Leipzig, fantastic. So great for them and great for German football, definitely. Right, we'll go into the next game and an unbelievable game that occurred on Friday night. Barcelona 2, Bayern Munich 8. I wanted to run down through the scorers because it was ridiculous. We started off with Müller with that fantastic goal, I have to say. Ball cut across. Müller looking like he was going to volley it. Laid it off to Lewandowski. Lewandowski back to Müller. Left foot into the goal. Beautiful goal. Alaba, scoring an own goal and laughing about it. He probably knew the spanking that Barcelona were going to get. So it ended up being 1-1. And then Bayern just went for it. Perisic in 21 minutes. Gnabry in 27. Suarez gave them some hope with a goal in the 57th minute, but then Bayern just steamrolled them. 63rd minute Kimmich, 82nd minute Lewandowski, and Philippe Coutinho giving it back to his former team with a goal in the 85th minute and the 89th minute. Incidentally, all those goals had 8 different assist makers, which is, again, just a credit to how they play football this season. A lot of credit has to be given to Hansi Flick for the way they're playing. I don't know if you guys know, but Flick was actually the assistant manager of Niko Kovic at the start of the season. Things weren't going right for Kovic. Flick took over as a caretaker manager, won every single game as a caretaker manager. They gave him a contract till the end of the season. And then during lockdown, he did so well between December and April. He got a new contract to 2023. Now, he is someone who I believe deserved this opportunity with Bayern Munich. He was also the assistant manager of Germany during the 2014 World Cup. So he knows his stuff. He's a very experienced coach. And the way Bayern Munich are playing at the moment is unbelievable. Barcelona, on the other hand, humiliating defeats. There's no doubt about that. It's only the second time in Champions League or European Cup history that 8 goals have been scored past the quarterfinal stage, which is crazy considering how we look at Barcelona in recent years. The defense looked completely lost. I'm just putting up on the screen here a little stat that I'd shared with D-Lord a couple of days ago. Luis Suarez's heat map. I've got here a screenshot of the Daily Mail online headline. Luis Suarez abysmal first half heat map shows he spent most of his time taking kickoffs as Barcelona are crushed by Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. No joke, and people who look at the screen now can see bright red mark in the middle of the centre circle. Not good news for Barcelona. Quique Setien probably going to get fired. Let's not beat around the bush
Probably
here.
fired at half time.
I mean, yeah, he's lucky he wasn't, to be fair. And the board have been heavily criticised recently about concentrating more on the financial aspects, having let go of Arthur, before this game even occurred, in exchange for Pjanic, who's going to come in next season. Arthur was a very, very important player for Barcelona, having only been there a short time at the club. It is sad, well, for me anyway, to see him leave, because I thought he was fantastic at Gremio and deserved the chance at a big European team. Obviously, we'll carry that on at Juventus. But I mean, Stuart? I'll start with Stuart first. Barcelona, where do they go from here? That's a terrible defeat. Things aren't looking great. Messi has a year left of his contract. His buyout clause is 660 million euros. There's talk of the only two teams able to afford him, Paris Saint-Germain and Man City. Where do you see the Argentinian wizard going next? Or doing next, I should say.
Well, I don't know. I don't really see him going to PSG or Man City. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to think that Messi would like a challenge, and going to PSG, would that really pose a challenge for him? No, it probably wouldn't. It'll be even easier for him at PSG because the league, the Ligue 1 is so uncompetitive. The other one was Man City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would be a dream come true, right, for every kind of football fan, because Premier League, there's always that saying, can you do it on a cold night in Stoke? But that'll be his chance to prove it.
Unless he's getting to League One, I don't think he's going to play at Stoke.
That's right. That's true. Sorry.
FA Cup maybe.
Oversight from my part. But in terms of Barcelona, I mean, yeah, it's easy to highlight Quique Setien's faults, but I mean, I think it's to do with it's top down, right? It's the board, as you mentioned. It's a kind of culture that's kind of been built right now in a Barcelona team. It's not the same Barcelona team of 5-6 years ago, evidently, but I just think that it's something deeper there than just a manager, because the way they capitulated on Friday night was terrible. The way the way they were giving chances, it wasn't so much Bayern Munich played an absolute stormer. I think Barcelona made it so easy for Bayern Munich to kind of steamroll them. Giving the ball away so easily in their own half, from the goalkeeper to the defenders. It was just an easy night for Bayern Munich, to be honest. But yeah, I think in terms of the new generation is going to have to come through. Suarez, he's 33 now. Messi, they're all in their early 30s. So I think it's time now to bring in the new generation. Ansu Fati looks good. He's someone that I'm excited about to see play going forward. So yeah, I think it's time now to start to call it a day with the golden generation.
That's the thing as well. I think a lot of people, because of what Barcelona have done in the last 15 years, expect the academy to produce some great players and to help inject some life into that Barcelona team. Now, a lot of people mention the fact that Messi's most successful period was when he had the likes of Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets was on top form. They had Puyol in defence. Gerard Piqué obviously is still there now, but he's obviously older. But I don't really see much coming through the academy anymore. As you say, Ansu Fati, was it Ansu?
Ansu Fati.
Yeah, that's the one. Looks great, very good player, but again, 17, very young shoulders. He's not gonna really carry that team as Messi would, for example. And obviously, Messi's an exceptional talent. And to be fair to Messi, he wasn't really carrying that team at 19 either. He had other players around him. Ronaldinho, Eto'o, Ibrahimovic played alongside Messi as well. So, they had that Galactico team, let's say. I know that's always referred to Real Madrid, but they had the stars there to be able to do that. Now I think Barca are going to struggle quite a bit. Even though they have been, I think there's been they made a massive mistake in sacking Ernesto Valverde. He won 2 titles for Barcelona back to back. He had a dodgy period last year and obviously lost his position. Also, Barca were very unlucky to lose Luis Enrique as well. So I think the appointment of Quique Setien was always looked at very unfavourably. He hasn't helped himself, obviously, with his 8-2 defeat. But new things have to happen at Barcelona. But what can Barcelona do from here? And in regards to Messi, do you think, D-Lord, that he'll stay, he'll go to another team? And how can they refresh that Barca team with the average age of the game yesterday being 31 years old?
Um,
Is it a case of spending?
I don't even think it's a case of spending. I think it's like Stewart said. It's top down. They need to sort out their house in order because they seem sorry they seem to have kind of veered away from their philosophy. With all the changes that's happened, and you can kind of see it in the combination of the team that you see right now. Like, the spending hasn't made much sense. With in regards to Messi, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse because of how great he is. And then because now, if you look at it, how old is Messi now? 30, 30, is he 31?
33, isn't he?
33. Wow, 33. So it's a thing of now. Me personally, I think he's going to retire at Barca. I don't think there's anything left for him to kind of prove. Which, I mean, I would actually like to see him kind of leave and go to a team that plays football, so like a Manchester City. It would be good to see him in the Premiership. But I don't think he's going to come here for like 2 years max. It doesn't make any sense. So I think he's going to retire at Barca. You look at the team, and you say their most successful years was when they had Xavi, Iniesta, and all these players. But then you start to see little weird things start happening. Like the amount they spent on Dembele. It's like they're looking for that Messi replacement, or who's next to kind of like, toe the line. And they've gone outside of La Masia, and they spend that money on like a Dembele, which hasn't kind of worked out. They've gone out to get a Griezmann. I've always said these kind of players are not really Barcelona type players. You know what I'm saying? They're more like Real Madrid type of players where it's more individual. When you think of Barca, you think of the philosophy, the tiki-taka philosophy, where it's kind of like a cohesive unit. Everybody knows what they do. They keep that ball moving. As soon as they lose it, they win it within the next 10 seconds. And you get the ball to Messi. He produces the magic, whatever. But when you look at the team now, I mean, I've got the team on screen now. We have Ter Stegen in goal, which is cool. Semedo, PK, who's been there for a long time. You got Lenglet, Jordi Alba, cool. Then you got in the midfield, they play the midfield of Sergio Roberto, Busquets, De Jong, and Vidal. Now it's like,
But bearing in mind, Vidal's on the wing, which I found mental.
Vidal is on the wing. And how does Vidal? He's probably like 35. I don't even know how old he is. So you got a 35-year-old from who used to play for Bayern Munich ages ago. He's years behind him. He's playing on the wing for Barcelona. And then you got, okay, Messi and Suarez up top. And then it's like, you look at the team and you just think, it's all over the place. It's all over the place, And then you buy a Griezmann, and he's on the bench, and then your most expensive signing is knocking you out the Champions League with 2 goals and an assist. Like, they spent 142 million on Coutinho, and he's in a Bayern Munich jersey.
It's funny you mentioned that. I've actually got on the screen now the Barcelona's top 3 all-time signings. Number 1 is Philip Coutinho, 130.5 million. Then we got Ousmane Dembele on 124 million, and then Antoine Griezmann on 108 million. Bearing in mind that these 3 transfers are within the top 6 world transfers of all time, record transfers of all time, it's mental to think that 2 of them were on the bench and the other one was playing for the opposition and ended up scoring 2 goals and an assist against them. It's like, what is going on at Barcelona? They're trying to spend money. Like when into the Atletico Madrid, they're trying to spend money to kind of rebuild their team, and because they have that money, they can spend that, but they're not integrating these players into tactics or a system that suits them. And as a result, I mean, Dembele's been really unlucky. I think he's a fantastic player, but it's just not worked out for him. Antoine Griezmann as well, he's done his bits and pieces this year. I think he still needs some time to kind of integrate within that Barcelona system. But you're right, it's a hell of a lot of money, and I think they kind of lost. because of the fact that their academy is not churning out the usual talent.
Yeah, they got like you said, Ansu Fati coming through. They got what's that? Ricky Puig coming
Yes.
through.
And to be fair, Sergio Roberto, who played, was also from the academy. But again,
Yeah.
I don't think he's
He's
Champions League
not-
final quality.
Yeah, he's not that quality. And I'm not sure if either of you have watched Take the Ball Possible. It's a documentary, the Barca documentary. I suggest you guys watch that. I think it was on Sky Demand. It might still be on there. It's a brilliant documentary which kind of gives you an insight on how, Barca came, how, before the Pep Guardiola era, where they were at crossroads, and they were trying to. In fact, they were actually going to hire Jose Mourinho. They had agreed to hire Mourinho, and until I can't remember who was the director at the time, he called Johan Cruyff, and Johan Cruyff is the one that vetoed the deal. Said, yeah, "Nah, Mourinho's not the guy for it." And they said, "Okay, but we've agreed terms of him and blah blah. So who do you say we hire?" And he said, "Well, he's in the B team, Pep Guardiola." And they were like, "Huh? You want us to hire Pep? You want us to give Pep the Barcelona job?" He said, "Yes, give Pep." So they're like, "Okay, well, Johan Cruyff is like they're God," you know what I'm saying? So they actually say, "Okay, took the chance," and he came with his philosophy, and he said, "You know what? He just got rid of the big names and just said." Like, he got rid of the Ronaldinhos, the Samuel Eto'os, like the big personalities. Well, he was trying to get rid of Samuel Eto'o. And then he brings through, these new young bloods. Even Xavi was about to be sold. People don't realize that Xavi was getting booed by Barcelona fans. He was about to be sold until Pep came in and changed his role. And it kind of revitalized and gave them an identity. So he's blooding in players from the youth, and he had this system where it worked. And because of the people he's trained in the academy, they knew the system, So which is why they struggled whenever they brought players in, like the Thierry Henrys, the Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
They were good players. Chigrinsky, the defender, who he hooked off at like halftime because he kept hoofing the ball whenever there's pressure, when he's telling them play out the back. So they had a philosophy that was instilled in them, and to see
from a young age.
From a young age. So to see them kind of like lose their way and see them go back to spending recklessly, because that's what it is.
Yeah,
when you're spending like 140 something, 120 something, 108 million, and then those three players are not even in the team. And then you have like a young player in Arthur that you brought in, and then you've got rid of him to bring in another old player. We're talking about Vidal, who's 35 or whatever, and you bring in another old player in Pjanic.
That's very true.
You kind of say to yourself, like, what is happening at Barca? Like, I feel they are in trouble, because when Messi goes, I don't see how they're coming back, because people forget that Real Madrid were dominating La Liga for a very long time till Pep Guardiola kind of came back, and then they had that spell where they had it, and now it's gone back to Real Madrid. So you kind of fear for Barcelona at this point, where I don't know where they're going. I don't see, once Messi goes, what's going to happen? Are they going to go back to trying to rebuild that Cruyff philosophy, or they're going to go down this rabbit hole of trying to spend, 100 and something million on players that do not even fit the style? So me personally, I think they're in big trouble. I think they're in very big trouble. So, sure. What's your take on it?
Yes, sure. That's not.
Yeah, no, I think you're right in terms of the signings they're making. It's reckless. There's no kind of like overall policy behind it.
Yeah.
It just seems like they're going out of the way to just sign the next best thing that they see in the market without really thinking about how they're going to fit in the team, as opposed to before, where they actually, they nurtured their talent and really knew what role they were playing in the philosophy. But there is no philosophy now with Barcelona. I mean, where's the tiki-taka on the pass is gone because they haven't got the players now. They've got players now that are just quick and run through the channels, and the likes of Griezmann. Griezmann has massively underperformed this season. So yeah, I think they're in trouble, and I don't think a new manager is necessarily going to address that. I just think again it needs a policy there, just the one that they stick to, and they start to rebuild. But it's not going to be a 1 or 2 season job. It'll be a few years, and it's going to be a few years before they actually get back to anywhere near the heights of the past. Because they need to go back to the roots in terms of where they really are good. That's a nurturing talent from La Masia. As you said already, there isn't that kind of talent coming through the ranks.
Yeah, if you look at like Real Madrid lost Cristiano Ronaldo, and you saw what they did, where they scoured the world for the youngest talent. Like they brought in Rodrigo, Vinicius. Who else did they get?
They got Hazard. They got the Serbian striker. What's his name?
Jovic. He's 23. You can see that Mendy. You know, you can see they're kind of going for like the young players that, because I think they've seen that Barcelona are in trouble. So before Barcelona can even figure out what they're trying to do, Real Madrid have already got the blueprint of getting these new next up and coming youngsters together. Like they just want to know. Spanish Breach has got, they got Odegaard coming back, not to forget, and he's having a blinder at I think it was Sociedad. He's now coming into his own now. So like they have got, you can see that Real Madrid team and say, you know what, this team gels. They're going to dominate La Liga for possibly another decade. Where once Messi goes, where do you see Barcelona? Where do you see Barcelona coming through? I mean, we mentioned Fati, Ricky Puig, but it's like there's a lot of changes that they need. I mean, PK offered him to give himself. He said, you know what, we need changes, and I'll be the first to say, I'll be the first to put myself up to leave if we can get somebody else who's better. And, I mean, that just shows you.
The main reason why you say that, though, let's be honest, is because Messi is so exceptional. The fact that he has completely turned Barcelona's the way people look at them as a club and their success in the last 15 years, they've never had that success before in their history. So he really has turned that team upside down, as did Guardiola when he had the midfield of Iniesta, Xavi, and Busquets. I've got a tweet up on the screen at the moment. This is from @Premier League Panel, and this is quite interesting, actually. The tweet goes, Bayern bought Sane, Alphonso Davies, Saul, Goretzka, Gnabry, Kimmich, Lewandowski, Thiago, Coman, and Boateng for 139.6 million, and Barcelona spent 142 million on Philippe Coutinho. Then Barcelona loaned Coutinho to Bayern, who then assisted or scored the 6th, 7th, and 8th goal against them. That is crazy. That kind of just demonstrates the fact that the board really don't know what they're doing. They're trying to give it the old Real Madrid, let's spend loads of money and sell shirts, etc. But it's clearly not working. And the way they got battered yesterday night, Friday night. It's just crazy. That's not a normal defeat. That is an absolute demolishing. And although we're talking about Barcelona, you have to give credit to Bayern Munich. They have been,
of course,
amazing. Like I said there, as soon as Flick took over, what was the stats again? I was looking at it. Since the 7th of December 2019, they've played 29 games, 28 wins and 1 draw. That is ridiculous. There's one thing being undefeated. I know, for example, Arsenal fans love to talk about the Invincibles. They did not win every game like that, and that 28 wins out of 29 is ridiculous. As I said, there was 8 different people who assisted goals against Barcelona. We're looking at Lewandowski this year. He's on 54 goals in the Champions League. He's on 14 goals and is actually joint top assister with Mbappe. He's 3 goals away from breaking the one-season Champions League top scorer record. We're looking at, we mentioned off camera, Alphonso Davies, young player, Canadian, who's amazing, who's been so good for Bayern, given the fact that I think he barely played 1 season in the MLS, and his goal kind of demonstrated the free-flowing football that Bayern demonstrate. The left back passing it to the right back, and that's the type of football that Barcelona were playing back in the day.
Exactly.
A lot of credit has to be given to Bayern. I personally think they're going to win this Champions League. Do you think they can do it, Stuart?
Yeah, I think especially after that performance on Friday night, and you mentioned Alphonso Davies. He's only 19, and the way he played in that game just showed a different level of maturity there. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't aware of those stats in terms of 28 wins and 1 draw. That just shows you that they're on a mission this season, and that their form is just next level at the moment. But yeah, again, the stats with Lewandowski scoring goals, Müller scoring goals. If your strikers are firing on all cylinders, you've got every chance in the world to win the Champions League. And if you've got players like Davies, one of the best left backs in the world right now, playing like he is, then they'll go far.
On another little stat there, they've actually scored 155 goals this season, which is absolutely amazing. D-Lord, what did you think of Alphonso Davies' performance in Bayern Munich in general in the Champions League this year?
When I think about Alphonso Davies, I just think about that funny thing I read the other day where it said that he was actually offered to Barcelona and they said he's Canadian. No thanks.
No way. Is that true? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And also to touch on the fact that, Bayern have scored 37 goals in their last 8 games. That's just amazing. So let's talk about Anthony Davies, Alphonso Davies. I mean, this is somebody that was brought in as a winger, and
with barely a season in the MLS.
Barely a season in MLS. That's how much they believed in the talent, and that's how much you believe that this talent is real. I mean, for Bayern Munich to say, you know what, you're moving Alaba out of position. Alaba, you go to centre back. I mean, we've got to keep you in the team somehow. But
wait, sorry, you're right though. Bearing in mind, Alaba was always considered the best left back in the world.
The best left back in the world. How old is he? 19?
19.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah. This 19 years old, in his debut season, he's already, for me personally, taken the mantle of the best left back because it's the performances week in, week out that he keeps. We saw how he dealt with Chuck. I watched him properly against us, and he obliterated that side, that side that he was playing on. Obliterated.
Mate, I was there for the 7-2, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
You just can't. For someone to have that much skill, that much pace, and that much power, it's absolutely ridiculous. And what really made that assist to, who was it? Kimmich. The assist to Kimmich, where he took the ball from the midfield, dribbled past 2 players, not make the player, got to the end and faced off Semedo and just literally obliterated him and then drove into the box. Most people, when they get there, they kind of forget but they kind of lose their mind and just think, oh, what do I do? I'm just going to smash it in there, and hope for the best. But he had the composure to be in the box, to wait to the very last second, to spot the run of Kimmich and lay a perfect ball for him to just slot in. I mean, that type of composure for a 19 years old, Marcelo had to tweet and say, you know what, I enjoy watching you play. You give me joy watching you play. That is a big statement in letting people know that this boy is the next best thing at left back, possibly in the world, the best left back in the world, in my opinion. And he's only 19, and he's going to get better.
I think you're right there, the composure and the patience. Because there's one thing, because especially him, I mean, a 19-year-old, think about it. You've just buzzed up with Semedo. You've gone past him. You're past him. You're going into the area. He could have easily chipped it up in the air and see who would have headed it or smashed it across the goal. But he carried on running until the right point where he saw Kimmich. Easy pass, easy goal. And I think the Bayern team at that point kind of saw something really special with that guy, because you saw Kimmich's reaction and the way everyone reacted to Davies in general after that goal. And I think he can only get better. I hope he does. I hope there's nothing bad happens to him, like an injury or nothing like that, because I think he's going to be a fantastic player. And to be honest with you, I can see him kind of going in the same direction as Bale, playing as a left back and eventually going more forward and up front.
The thing is, that is not the first time that I've seen the Bayern Munich players after the game run to Alphonso Davies. I've seen it on numerous occasions, especially us twice. They did it. they went to him, so they know that this boy is something special. I mean, we're talking about a left back here. We're talking about a team with big personalities like Lewandowski, who's having an amazing season. Amazing season. How many goals he's scored, top scorer in the whole of Europe, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And Muller, who's just aging like fine wine, who's just, just another amazing player. But for all of them, the name out of all their mouths is Alphonso Davies. They all go to him to congratulate him. That just shows you that this kid is going to the top. And you know the good thing? Bayern Munich have him, which means you can't get him. Bayern don't sell anybody unless they want to get rid of somebody.
He don't need to go nowhere now.
He doesn't need to go anywhere. He's at the best. He's at the best team. Before I just want to just even commend Bayern Munich again for being able to stay at a consistent level, for years. You have to remember that if you look at the team now, I judge it on from when we beat them in the Champions League in 2012, and how we kind of nosedived, but they have kind of stayed the same way, and the team has changed. Because you look at the team, who was there in that final day they lost? Neuer, Alaba, Boateng, Muller. I believe that's it.
Let's not get it twisted either. They lost Robben and Ribéry, and no one's
That's
talking.
what I'm saying.
No one's talking about them now.
No one's talking about it. They've lost Robben and Ribéry, but they've recruited well. To think that you're gonna have Alphonso Davies and Leroy Sané on that left-hand side, like that is.
Of course, Sané. God, yeah. Can you imagine?
People forgot that, and then you have Gnabry, who Arsenal threw away.
West Brom threw away.
West Brom threw away. I told you got people like Tony Pulis saying, "Oh, he's crap. He's not good enough."
Even he says he's got the wrong attitude. Well, no wonder. If you're playing for Tony Pulis, I'd have the wrong attitude too.
Exactly. or because he refuses to kick the ball into the sky, And I mean, to look at the team that they have and the PMP, which is the pace and power that this team have, is they are obliterating teams. They are obliterated teams. I mean, when we played them, we lost 3-0 the first leg, and then they interviewed Muller, and like the bloody, Terminator he is, he says, we are going to make sure that they have no hope in dreaming of a comeback, something like that. Saying that's to show you the determination and the mental side that this team have. Like, they have one focus, and they are going for that Champions League. They just obliterated Barcelona 8-2, and apparently they weren't even celebrating in the changing room. They were just on to the next game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right mentality to have.
That's the right mentality, and kudos to Bayern Munich and kudos to Hans Flick.
Yeah, definitely. Let's just move on quickly because we've actually gone past the hour mark. So we'll touch very briefly now on Man City. Lyon, Man City 1, Lyon 3. Yeah. What can I say? Again, a dismal defensive performance has let them down. Pep Guardiola just can't seem to get this Man City team past the quarterfinal stages. We saw Sterling's miss, which was unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how he missed that. He was literally inside the 6-yard box. Not that being 7 yards out is harder, but for when you're 3 yards out to miss it that much is ridiculous. Personally as well, I thought Jesus' miss 2 minutes before that as well was a massive mistake by him. He could have done a lot better with that volley that he eventually scuffed completely.
Yes.
I thought that was a big chance. I don't know if he wasn't concentrating on something, but he could have easily taken that down and scored that, in my opinion. Guardiola's strange tactical change from his successful 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3 formation didn't work at all. We had Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Foden, all on the bench, creative players. As soon as Mahrez and Silva came on, you could see the difference that they made to the team. But by that point, it was just too late. Lyon countered. I thought it was poor performance by Depay, but the substitute who came on, Moussa Dembele, completely shocked the City defence with 2 goals. I thought the second goal, I was watching on BT Sports, and McManaman was very, that should have been offside. I thought it was a perfectly clean goal. I didn't think Laporte, the touch on Laporte was a foul. To be honest with you, I think at that point he kind of knew he was stuffed and kind of went down to the floor. But again, Rudy Garcia, fantastic job for Lyon. There was a petition done on him, I think, in November, December time by the fans who they really wanted him sacked. Now I'm sure he's going to go down as club legend. And yeah, I mean, Guardiola just can't seem to do it with the City team. He can't seem to do it with any team other than Barcelona, to be fair, because he didn't win the Champions League with Bayern Munich either. But yeah, City's defense let them down. He got rid of Joe Hart, brought in Claudio Bravo. Then Claudio Bravo didn't work out. He brings in Edison. Edison didn't exactly wasn't exactly brilliant the other night either. Do you think Guardiola will go? Personally, I think Guardiola has one season left before he decides to leave. Do you think he'll ever win the Champions League with Man City, Stewart?
Well, I mean, I think this season, based on how the competition is being played out right now, he's not going to have a greater chance than this one, I think, because the kind of teams that are now in the knockout stages, like the Leipigs. It'd be a chance that's going to be missed by Man City. But I mean, I'll have to question his tactical nous with what you said in terms of changing a winning formation and going very quite defensive against Lyon. I'm not sure why they gave Lyon the respect they gave them in terms of how they shaped up. I'm not sure why Gundogan and Rodri were in midfield when they had those options on the bench. There's more attacking options.
Surely Guardiola would have known as well. Lyon were going to play defensive, and exactly what they did.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure why they didn't go attacking. I mean, they gave them too much respect. And as you mentioned, when Mahrez came on, things just changed. And the way they were caught on the break was just very amateurish. We referenced Sterling's miss, but I think a great manager, you changes things when things aren't right. And he should have changed things after the first 15, 20 minutes, when you can tell things weren't working out and they weren't getting the strikers weren't getting the support they needed. So instead of waiting until like the 60th or 70th minute to make changes, you should have done it in the first half, or even a worst case scenario, done it during the first half, at the start of the second half. But he waited too long, and by that time it was just too late to try and recover. Edison was completely at fault for that last goal. Not sure what happened there, but yeah, I think the damage was done from the get-go from Pep's tactics. In terms of is he going to go this season? I mean, I don't see it, but I wouldn't be surprised. And you never know, you might even see him back at Barcelona if they get rid of Setien. Guardiola Mach 2 at Barcelona 2.0. Be interesting to see. But he's massively underperformed this season, and he's only really got himself to blame for this.
D-Lord, Guardiola spent over £600 million at Man City. He really hasn't progressed in the Champions League as the board probably would have expected a manager of his ability to do. Again, I'll pose the same question to you. Do you see Guardiola staying at Man City more than a year? And what more can they do, or what can they do for next season to be better in the Champions League? Or is it just a case of him getting his tactics wrong on the night, and he's got the team there capable of doing the getting the holy grail of that Champions League?
In regards of him staying or leaving, I believe that he would. I believe he'll stay another year. Past that year, I don't know. You then have to look like, where else could he go? I mean, he's gone to Bayern Munich. He's gone to he was at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Man City. Where else is he gonna go? PSG? Nah.
I was about to say, where else is the money? And it's got to be PSG, right? Or, and this is a long shot, and I've tweeted this out a couple of times, and I told this to Stuart. I have a hunch he's going to be the manager for Qatar at the World Cup. But anyway, continue.
Okay, yeah, that's possibly a shout. They do have some sort of connection, but in terms of, I personally thought that this was possibly their best chance of getting Champions League. I feel they do have the team to get the Champions League. I think this team is good enough to win the Champions League. This fell on Pep Guardiola with his tactics. Why he decided to change the tactics, I have no idea. He decided to match Lyon their formation for whatever reason. But if you really look at the context of things, they did play well. if you take out, you know, the things that happened, they did play well, and I felt like, you know, without those mistakes, they possibly would have won the game. But that's if and buts and whatever. They dominated the game, which is what they do. The first goal, yeah, they just got caught unlucky, but they came back into it with a brilliant goal by Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, a brilliant goal. And then again, that Dembele goal, I'm gonna have to side with City on that one. I think the two factors there was the trip. Anywhere else, that's a, you know, I mean, that's a free kick. Whether, you know, it's coming together of legs or whatever, but it's a trip. You know, that's a foul. And the fact that what's his name walked over the ball, yes, he didn't touch it, but that's a dummy. You know, that's a dummy. You dummy that on purpose.
It is crazy looking at how VAR works in the Premier League compared to the Champions League.
Yeah. It's. I mean, there's no sort of consistency. Like in the Premier League, that probably would have been given as a foul, and which rightfully so, it should have been a foul. That goal should never have stood, because I would be livid if I conceded that. I'd be livid. But fair play to Lyon, they did go on and then put the ball back in the net. But Sterling, I think that changes the game. I think he puts that in, City in the semi-final. And I was so looking forward to seeing a Man City, Bayern Munich semi-final. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, like we said, the whole theme of this chat that we're doing was, you know, the year of the underdogs, you know. It's nice, but I wanted to see the City, the Pep versus his former team.
City are underdogs, though. They've never won the Champions League, so they're still underdogs.
Exactly. So they would have been the underdogs against Bayern Munich, and that's what you wanted to kind of see. That's the kind of match you want to see. I mean, there's a bit of an anti-climax seeing Bayern Munich versus Lyon, because you know what's going to happen. Like, you know they're gonna get flooded. You know, it's going to be a whitewash. It's not even going to be a joke. But I think most neutrals wanted to see, you know, Bayern Munich versus Man City. And I think this whole thing of him not getting past the quarterfinals, I think it played at the back of his mind. And I think he tried to do something too different. If he had stuck to his guns, I mean, you don't have Bernardo Silva, Foden, Mahrez, you know, David Silva. You don't have these players on the bench. Like, regardless of what Lyon play,
I think the change of formation proves how much he doesn't have confidence in that defense.
But you say that, but does it really matter? Because you're playing Lyon. Even if you don't have confidence in that defense, you have overconfidence in your attack. So even if they score 2, you know you're outscoring them. You know, so
City might score 2 and Lyon score 3. So, which they did.
I think the reason
but then he played 3 at the back. Yeah, go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say that. He went 3 at the back because he didn't trust his 2 centre-backs to be able to contend with the strikers that Lyon had up front to their pace. So that's why he went even more cautious with the 3 at the back, because he didn't trust that they'd be able to deal with those 2 strikers, you know, playing a high line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows that his faith in that system was misplaced.
Exactly, and then you look at the mistake by Edison. I mean, it was just a whole combination of things that just kind of. Edison is a top goalie for me, man. He's probably one of the best. He's one of the best in the world, and he just had an off night that night. And it's just unfortunate that all these things came into culmination of errors that just again shows why City are struggling to kind of like get over that hurdle. I do believe that they will get it. I do believe if they stick with Guardiola, they will eventually get it, you know. But time is ticking, you know. Players, you know, I don't know how Kevin De Bruyne is now. He's 28, 29?
29.
I think. 29 years old, you know. So I do feel like they do have the team to kind of, you know, win the Champions League. But again, he spent over 600 mil on defense or whatever. He bought like a lot of wing backs, and a lot of them didn't play. Like Mendy, I'm not sure if he was injured. We just recently found out that he's brought Nathan Ake. There's rumors of Koulibaly coming into the team, which would be good. Koulibaly and Laporte at centre back. I think that would be decent. But I think he should have really addressed the centre back issue a long time ago. You know, he addressed the keeper situation very quickly, which is good. He addressed it attacking play, which is good. But for some reason, I just feel you kind of go back to Barcelona and you was playing Mascherano in defense, you know, so you kind of feel like that's not his forte. I think he needs to invest in a defensive coach. Now, someone who would do the defensive work, because he's a defensive way of playing defense is offensively pressing. That's what they do. They press you, get the ball back, and then start all over again. But I think he needs to they need to take a step back and invest in a defensive coach or hire a defensive coach and get them on the staff and then work from there, because that's the only way you're really kind of going to get Champions League. Because if you look at Bayern's defense, it's not really that great if you think about it. Like Boateng is not really like the greatest. He's not like a world-class centre back.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Alaba is not really a centre back. He's a left back. You know, I mean, he can play. He can play there, but you look at Davis, yeah, class, Kimmich class, but Alaba class at left back. You're not really sure about him as centre back. But Boateng is easily spun. You know, if you drop the shoulder on him, you can play around him. So Bayern, this is why the difference with Bayern is. Their defense is not really that great, but their attacking they didn't change their structure. They know that we've got a great attack and we're gonna focus on that. And I feel that's what Pep should have done against Lyon, especially when they finished 7th in the league, man. Come on, like you don't pay them that much respect. You play this is one game. It's not 2 legs. This is one game. You have to play your attacking players. And they didn't even come on apart from Mahrez. I don't even know if David Silva came on or any of Bernardo Silva came.
I think Silva and Mahrez came on. Yeah, but I think you're right. I think Guardiola's gonna instantly regret the tactics that he pulled out. I think he saw the difference when Mahrez and Silva did come on, and I think it's unfortunate for him that Man City couldn't make more of this. Like you said, I do think on one hand we are saying, oh, this is the best opportunity Bayern had to win the Champions League. Sorry, City. But the next round was Bayern Munich. So personally, I don't think they were going to beat them either. But,
yeah, I don't think they were beating them. But it would have been a better spectacle than watching a Bayern Munich Lyon. I mean, what games do you guys would you prefer to see? A Bayern Lyon or a Bayern City game?
Obviously, Bayern City, right, Stuart?
Yeah,
of course.
But again, it's football, so we don't know what's going to happen. Lyon might beat Bayern. Who knows? We'll wait and see. I think the games are being played on Tuesday and Wednesday. I think we're going to wrap this up now. We've done over an hour now. It's been great talking to you guys. Just on the screen, obviously you guys can't see, but on the screen there was a little tweet sent out by Lyon after they beat Man City with the caption "No farmers here," which I think is elegantly put there by Lyon. Thank you. Say again.
United's gone out to Sevilla tonight.
Oh, what's the score? What was the score?
2-1.
2-1. Well, Manchester United doing what they do best, and anyway, we'll talk about that in the next show. But listen, guys, thank you so much for joining me, D-Lord. It's great having you on the show. Hopefully, we can have you again soon. I hope you've enjoyed.
Hey, I enjoyed this. This is brilliant. You know me. I mean, we go back a long time, and I love talking about football. You know, so. As you can tell, I love talking about football, so I'll love to come back on again. And Stewart, it was great having a discussion with you as well. So this is great. Yeah. Looking forward to coming back.
Cool, man. It's good to have you, Stewart. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I know you've got a busy schedule and looking worse for wear, but it's all right, mate. It's usually happens. Guys, thank you so much. As always, SoccerSanchez TV. On YouTube, please like, subscribe, comment, join in the conversation. If you've got any ideas for the show, let us know. Also, my website is back up and running, SoccerSanchez.com. Please visit the site and sign up. And again, just leave a comment and let's discuss football. And on YouTube, hit the bell for notifications of all the latest videos that come up. Guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Soccer Sanchez, it's been emotional. Over and out. See you next week. Adios.
That's one. Take it easy, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.